Hello, my name is Christina Kapadoka. I am the initiator, facilitator and editor of this project, and I would like to welcome you to the experiencing of somatic voices in performance research and beyond. Somatic Voices as a research project, book, and international community of practitioner researchers brings together somatic, vocal, and performance praxis towards new perspectives on embodiment and embodied methodologies. This video is our alternative book launch. It is a compilation of present sharings by some members of our community and a quick navigation to the online material that complements the reading of this book. So my invitation to each and all of you is to allow the possibility of exploring and reflecting upon your own somatic voices through the experiencing of our work.
How would you narrate the story of your voice? Which specific, resonant, idiosyncratically influential episodes would you select to be part of this narration? What would be the benefit in searching for your personal vocal autobiography? In other words, in rehearsing your autobiophony. How do the stories of our bodies and the stories of our voices intersect, or diverge, or contradict, or complement each other? How does the way we perceive, live through, and talk about our vocal autobiographies turn into our physiovocal practice? And vice versa, how does our physiovocal practice turn into our vocal autobiography? And if the way of narrating is a techne, a set of techniques and a mode of knowledge, how do physiovocal experience, vocal autobiography, and this techne of being a voice, let's call it a phonotechnics, how do they intersect? And more importantly, when experiencing, registering, accounting for, or working through these intersections of vocal self-narration, vocal techne, and vocal practice, what opportunities are we afforded to reimagine a different vocal future, and elsewhere, and an otherwise of voice?
I open the music manuscript and scribbled signs appear on the page in front of me. I touch the ink with my fingers, as if to make sure the black color has dried into the paper. I see codes that someone has drawn by hand, by body, by mind, by memory. A living movement finding structures on a paper. We see, we sense, we reason and unreason here and now. We are part of an historical time where the past is inseparable from our presence and our future. The hand has lived alive as part of a living, sounding, speaking, moving, writing body. A body-mind has taught a hand to translate memories of living, to silently sing the somatic awareness of a living being into codes and traces for others to take over, for voices to encounter across space-times and presumed boundaries. A hand becomes part of a voice. She followed the handwritten vocal melody here on the music sheet, in the text, connecting and translating, never comparing, only moving, relating, learning and growing based on a combination of previous experiences and a strong energy of desire. Slowly the score and the sound taught her about the process of meaning-making, the art of impatient learning, becoming alive in its stillness.
From a study of their research and writing, I developed an approach that engages three somatic processes: breath, exploration, and imagery. Breath, because it is a source of life itself, and our unique relationship to our environment as we share the planet with the vegetation that provides our oxygen, or as David Abram phrases it, arising spontaneously from the slippage between an organism and the folding terrain of the earth. Exploration acknowledges life as an improvisation in interaction with our environment. As Mark Johnson notes, our nature as biological organisms are intricately intertwined with our cultural being. It is as part of our human nature that we live, move, and realize our being as at once both biological and cultural creatures. Antonio Damasio noted, information from our sensory system, eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue, and the kinesthetic system is stored in our neural structure as somatic markers. These sensory images come from a range of experiences, from family, school, church, and community. They may be recalled as a sound, a kinesthetic feeling, a taste, a picture, a perception on your skin, or a combination of sensory-based memories. The exercises for the volume bring attention to each one of these somatic processes and suggest how they might be united in a somatic approach to training. Thank you.
Greetings, and thank you, Christina, for all of your work on this important book project. My chapter is called Awakening Grace, Embodied Awareness in Vocal Training. As a dancer who uses text and performance, my goal is to feel what I'm saying while moving, embodied speaking. This process is not just to communicate to others, but to hear and to edit my words, perhaps saying less. I'd like to share two excerpts from the performance text as an introduction to the chapter. Breath is exchange. You have to give something up to get something back. It's not just more. It's feeling just the right amount for ease and expressivity. It's natural, like the seasons, like birth and death, and you can feel it like the purr of a cat humming along deep inside without your attention. Unless, of course, you interrupt. Feel afraid. You have to go down to go up. That's my diaphragm speaking. Pinned to the inside of my ribs and tethered all the way down to my tailbone, it seals up organs from down. The heart gets a ride, the belly organs a massage. It's undulating. Like a jellyfish in the ocean, there's movement involved. It is so sensual to feel yourself breathing. Thanks, and I hope you'll find this chapter useful in your own journey with breath and with voice.
Voice as body is unstable, risky, and uncertain. To study embodiment in a somatically close way is to hazard the how questions of thinking and doing. In our case, how giving attention to the body as voice through deliberate practice helps us perform better and confidently be better. The entire range of somatic endeavor can be summarized in terms of human development and bodily knowledge. In its preoccupation with logos as reason, Eurocentric philosophy has not been curious about bodily knowing or the lived materiality of voice. Somatics is, among other things, about improvement of skills and performance, but more essentially, it is concerned with transformative potentials of embodied life, how we move forward with courage, emotional health, and ethical awareness of our interactions, how we develop individual potentials and empathy in tandem. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to seeing you in the book.
Hello, I am Patricia Barty, the founder-director of the Voice Movement Integration Somatic Practice Program centered in Amsterdam. Here is an excerpt from my chapter on awakening resonance in the moving body. The very nature of sound, while moving in an acoustical space, is gravity-free. The resonance of the sound is felt in the body as a vibrational fluidity moving equally and fully in all dimensions. Whereas the body's movement has to engage with gravity, the sound is a living force that animates the cellular presence, full and effortless attention, and this sense of fluidity is potentially received through the entire body. The vibration of sound can move more freely with less tension and effort within the body and influences our sensory attention. Within the vocal physical interaction of vocal dance, written and spoken language become a potent element. The interaction of language with movement profoundly impacts the sensory information the body is experiencing. This is due to the many levels of brain activity being awakened in the process: conscious, cortical, imaginative, subconscious, associative, deep memory, and poetic filters. These awakened areas activate a symbolic world, incorporating memory and sensation as a source and pool of images reflecting personal history and felt experience. This fosters a wellspring of new sources of creativity. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Amy Meehan Ginther, and I'm a professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz. I'm currently in Santa Cruz, which was originally unceded territory in the land of the Yupi tribe, the Amamutsan tribal band, and part of a deep commitment to continue to be stewards of this land as uninvited guests. I was really honored to be part of Christina's edited volume. My chapter is My Body is a Map, My Voice is the Path, Transracialized Somaticities, and Roy Hart Voice Work. I spent a week in France at the Roy Hart Center working in a workshop with Jonathan Hart-Makwaya, who is a master teacher of that work. And I was looking at the intersection between my own identity as a person of color and my soma, but also transracial, meaning as an adopted person, meaning that my family is a different race from my own racialized identity. And I would love today to share a little bit from the opening provocation for my chapter. Courage in the not knowing is a type of emancipatory pedagogy. It feeds permission. It encourages play. It dances in what we are, present in this very moment, not where we hope to arrive. When we are not afraid, our curiosity can flourish. It can be the fertile soil for discovery, transformation, for creation. My question, my wish for this week, and for subsequently this chapter, was to see where do the voice, body, and self meet. So I hope you enjoy it, and the discoveries that I made are valuable for you and your own work as well, and that we continue to look for emancipatory pedagogy for all in relation to race and the soma.
An exceptional feature of vocal expression is the immediate feedback. The perception of each sound necessarily influences those that follow through adjustments made by the performer, whether consciously or not, and through psychophysical reactions appearing in this process.
Even when vocalizing the simplest of sounds, the relationship between perception and expression is not static, but continually changing, as the tiniest waver in sound or the smallest distraction may provoke a cascade of associations, which in turn influence the next moment of sounding.
These adjustments and reactions may create what Grotowski called a time lapse between impulse and expression, especially when the performer attempts to get rid of unintended sounds. However, in a process-oriented approach to voice work, unintentional expressions are not necessarily to be avoided. Instead of fighting them, a performer may choose to follow them, amplify them, and transform them in a creative way.
Ilona uses Mindel's process work to pry open the voice, revealing points at which both dramaturgical and musical structure break down, and from which both may then be reconstructed. This approach has implications not only for the development of post-Grotowskian pedagogies and aesthetics, but also for how we understand the cultural and political dimensions of somatics.
If you're with someone you feel comfortable with, invite them to a relational exploration. Start by identifying your roles in the process. As the reader of this chapter, you could initiate the somatic attention by taking the role of the actor mover and giving your partner the role of the actor witness. This simply means that even though the suggested process, at least in the beginning, is meant to evolve around the actor mover's investigation and expression, the actor witness should not lose connection to their own somatic experience. This could be achieved by simply letting the actor witness know that they do not have to direct all their attention to you, but as much as it is easy for them. They could navigate this attention by focusing on their tactile experience in relation to the actor mover and the space, observing how this ongoing communication shifts. As you go along with the practice, you may want to move through the subtle shift of somatic attention and intention in both roles, allowing yourselves to simultaneously become movers, witnesses of self and other. The conclusion of the exploration will emerge at its own time. Would you like to reflect? Try to ground your words into your experiences using first person and present tense. Do you speak differently? Do you feel more present to yourself and your partner? If so, I would suggest that you experience qualities of your somatic logos. The closing chapter is an experiment on multivocality and multimodality. Its narrative is shaped through the integration of my writing and the contributing voices of participants to a 2-day practical symposium at East 15 Acting School in London in July 2019. The videos of all the contributions are available through the project's webpage on the Chase Training Hub. In order to access these videos, you go to your book, either printed or ebook, table of contents, online material. The links are available as well at other parts of the book, but for now I would like to draw your attention to the table of contents. For the Chase videos, you go to the Chase Training Hub URL. If you're reading a printed book, you would need to type the URL. In some ebooks, these links are interactive. Just double check that they take you to the correct page. Here I have a Google book with a non-interactive URL, so I would need to copy it. Then I go to my browser. I will paste it, remove the full stop in the end, click enter, and this takes me to the Chase webpage for the project with a video documentation of all the activities that took place at the symposium, by the contributors to the volume, and the wonderful contributions by the participants. Just a quick note, I would like to draw your attention to the first and the second sharings. There is a mistake. So the first response was by Judah Thiel, and the second response by Fabiano Quilore. The book's companion webpage that hosts audiovisual material for the reading of chapters 4, 5, 8, and 17 can be accessed through the Routledge Voice Studies textbooks website. So here we are again, Routledge Voice Studies website. I copy the URL. I go to my browser. I paste it, and as I paste it, I make sure that there are no gaps in the URL and that I remove the full stop in the end. And here I am on the Routledge Voice Studies website, the main page. So then I would need to go to the books. I click on Somatic Voices and Performance Research and Beyond, and here you can find videos and audio recordings that are part of the reading of chapters 4, 5, 8, and 17.